Hey there. Welcome back to Dr. English. I'm your host, Jack. Now, today, we're going to talk about something that everyone thinks about, but, well, in the US, we don't always like to talk about it out loud. That's right, we're talking about money. Specifically, how much do people actually make in America? So if you're learning English because you want to work in the United States, or maybe if you're just curious about why some people here can afford a massive SUV while others are struggling to pay rent, this episode is for you. We're going to look at the numbers, the jobs, and the vocabulary you need to navigate the American pay scale. So let's start with the big picture. If you look at the statistics, and keep in mind these numbers change every year, the median household income in the United States is around $75,000 to $80,000 a year. Now, median is an important word. It's the middle number. It means half of the families make more than that and half of them make less. But this is the catch. $80,000 feels very different depending on where you live. In a small town in the Midwest, $80,000 is a great salary. You can buy a house, have a garden, you're doing great. But in a big city like New York or San Francisco, $80,000 might actually qualify you for low-income housing. Isn't that crazy? When you're looking at jobs, you have to talk about the cost of living. That's the COL. People ask, is that a high cost of living area or a low cost of living area? So let's look at some of the specific jobs in the US. And at the lower end of the pay scale, we have the service industry. These jobs are like retail sales associates. They make about $30,000 to $40,000 a year. Fast food workers. They often earn the minimum wage, which changes by state, but usually averages out to be about $30,000 a year for full-time work. Then there are delivery drivers. With the rise of the gig economy, these jobs are everywhere. They usually pay about $35,000 to $40,000, depending on tips. Now, notice how I said tips. In America, for jobs like servers or bartenders, the salary is low. Sometimes it's only $2 to $3 an hour, but the rest of the money comes from the tip. That's the extra money that the customers leave. And if you're a great server in a busy city, you can actually make $60,000 or $70,000 just from tips. But it's a bit of a gamble. Now, moving up, let's talk about the backbone of America, the middle class. These are the jobs that usually require some training or a college degree. Teachers. This is a big one. On average, teachers make about $65,000, but it depends on the state. A teacher in New York makes more than a teacher in Florida. Registered nurses. Healthcare is huge in the United States. Nursing and nurses are in high demand, and they usually start making money at around $70,000 or $75,000 a year. Some can go over $100,000 with experience or overtime. Police officers and firefighters. These first responder jobs usually pay between $60,000 to $90,000 a year. And in this bracket, you'll hear people talk about stability. They aren't rich, but they have health benefits, a 401k retirement plan, and they can usually afford a mortgage, which is just the English word for a home loan. Now, let's get to the numbers everyone likes to talk about, the six-figure jobs. In America, hitting six figures, which is making more than $100,000, is a major psychological milestone. It's the sign that you've made it. Who makes this kind of money? Well, software engineers, especially in tech cities like Seattle or Austin. A junior engineer might make $110,000, and a senior engineer at Google or Meta, well, they might make $300,000 or $400,000, including stock options. Lawyers. A public defender might make $70,000, but a big law attorney in a corporate firm can make $215,000. Data scientists. This is a hot growing job. Analyzing data for big companies can pay $130,000 to $180,000. And then at the very top, we have doctors. A family doctor might make $250,000, and a surgeon or a specialist like an anesthesiologist, well, they can make $500,000 or more. But keep in mind, those doctors usually have hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt. So even though they make a lot, they start their careers in the red. One thing I have to mention, because it's so important for English learners to understand, is the total compensation package. When an American says, my job pays $100,000, they're usually talking about the gross salary. But you have to look at the benefits. If job A pays $100,000 but has no health insurance, and job B pays $90,000 but pays for all your insurance and gives you a 5% bonus and a 401k retirement match, then job B is actually the better deal. We also have something called equity. This is common in startup companies. And instead of giving you cash, they give you shares or stock in a company. If the company becomes the next Amazon, well, you can make a lot of money. If the company fails, then your stocks are worth zero. So it's a high risk, high reward situation. So what's the lesson here? Well, money in America, it's a ladder. There's a huge gap between the minimum wage and the executives. But the most important thing to remember is the vocabulary. If you're applying for jobs, don't be afraid to negotiate. Americans expect it. If they offer you $70,000, you can usually ask for $75,000 or $80,000. It's part of the dance of the American business. Anyway, that's all the time we have for today. I hope this helps clear things up for the mystery around American paychecks. I'm Jack, and this is Dr. English. Thanks for listening. Keep practicing your English, keep dreaming, and I'll see you in the next one.